Hey, hello everyone. Today I'm going to teach you how to make a CAT5 cable, or as it's commonly known, just a network cable. So what we're going to need to be able to put these together is number one, a CAT5 connector. And here I've got an ideal box of 25 connectors. And we're also going to need a multi-purpose tool to be able to cut and crimp the connector. And of course, you will need a wire to be able to put the connector on. And what we're going to do today is also test the wire. So we're going to need a Klien tool, pass, no pass, to be able to do some quality control and make sure that what we did is done correctly. So let's get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is that we're going to take the end of our cable, and here the cable is a little bit cut, but what we want to do is make sure that we start off with a very clean cut. So I'm going to take the tool, and this tool has a couple of blades. This blade will allow you to cut and kind of strip. This round one right here is going to help us peel off the sleeve of the cable. But what we want right now is we're going to use the one in the back, which is just a clean cut. So we want to start off by doing this and making sure that we've got the clean cut right here of the cable. So now what we're going to do is we're going to use the same tool. And you see this round one right here. What we're going to do is we're going to insert the cable right here, and we're going to leave about 1 inch. This is very important, and you'll find out later, but leave about 1 inch. So once you've got it, you kind of just twist it around, and this is going to cut off the sleeve for the cable. So it's been cut right there. Now you can twist it, and here we go. Now you've got the cable, and inside the cable, you'll notice that you've got this right here, which is just some kind of a fishing wire, vinyl type of a wire. And what we're going to do with this is that I'm going to take my my Swiss knife here, and I'm going to cut this. And what this does, by the way, is this essentially provides some tensile strength to the cable. So if the cable is getting pulled, this one is going to carry the weight, and it's not going to damage the wire. So that's the purpose of this. But right here for the connector, we do not need it. So we're just going to cut this off and make sure that it's not going to get in the way. There we go. Come on. Got it. Cut. Here we go. Okay, so what we have now is 4 groups of cables. So we're going to start unwinding these, and you've got essentially an orange group, a blue group, a green group, and a brown group. And each one of the solid has a striped. So you've got orange and striped orange, blue and striped blue. And I'm going to untwist these and make sure that they're not together anymore. And same thing, brown and striped brown, and green, and let's untwist the greens. So what you want to do here is you want to make sure that these are straight. And this is going to be part of what I need to teach you. The more time you spend prepping the wire before you actually try to insert it into the connector, the easier your life is going to be. So making it straight from the beginning is going to help you. Now, what we're going to do here, in this particular case, the box of the connector has a diagram of the wire. And let me use my my Klien tool here to be able to put this up here so you can see it. But there's actually 2 standards for the CAT5 wires. You've got the first one, which is the T568A, and you've got the T568B. Now, if you're starting off with a new installation, it doesn't matter which one you use as long as you consistently use the same one. If this is an installation that already has a standard, then you need to make sure that you maintain the certain standard. So a little while ago, I repaired the connector for this one right here. So if you can see right here, I mean, it's hard to be able to really look into it because the connector is transparent, but the wires are very close together. But we can see that we've got brown on the end, and then we've got green over on the other. So if you look at it closely, that's what we have. And if we match this up against this one, then we will be able to see that this particular wire was done for the A standard. So this is an A standard wire, and that's the one that we're going to continue to use. So we're going to do a connector for the T568A standard. So what we have to do first is be able to grab these, and we want to put them in the order that the diagram is showing us. So the order is based on the connector. So actually, I should be doing this right here. The connector has the clamp in the bottom and then nothing on top, and that's the way that this goes. So essentially, this wire is going to come in here, and it's going to be inserted right there. So this means that the first wire that we need is going to have to be the brown, then the brown stripe, yellow, blue stripe, blue, orange stripe, green, and then green stripe. So let's start sorting these out. So we're going to start with the brown and brown stripe first. So we've got these two right here. Then we've got the yellow. So make sure that as you sort these, you keep trying to make them straight, and you make sure that they don't get easily misaligned. So after the yellow comes the blue stripe for the A standard. So right there. And then comes the solid blue. After the solid blue, we have the orange stripe. And after the orange stripe, we've got the solid green. And after the solid green, we have the stripe green. So this is the order. So now we are matching the colors of these with the T568A standard. Now, I'm going to work it a little bit more and make sure that this thing is really, really straight. And you might notice now that if I put it up against the white background, that these are no longer completely aligned. So you've got some cables that are shorter than others, and notice how I'm really pressing down with my thumb. See, it's actually white, and I'm holding it really tight because I do not want these to move. So I'm going to stretch them. I do not want them to move. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my tool here, and there is an RJ45 right here. And oh, sorry, we're not going to use that right now. We're looking for this one. We're going to use this end-to-end cutter. So I'm going to cut these to make sure that they are completely aligned. So there we go. Now I've got a very, very clean cut right here. So they're all aligned. They're very close together. Notice how I'm still holding them very hard, but they're very close together. So at this point, I can go in and insert the connector, and it's going to just slide in. I've seen people not spend enough time making sure that they get this that I have before inserting the connector, and they always struggle, and many times the cable is not properly wired. So you've got these straight out. At this point, you just insert it, and each one of these is going to fall into place, and it's going to go in all the way to the end. So what's important here is that if you look at it from the top, and you might not see it because of the resolution, but you should see the end of each cable hitting up against the end of this connector. If you're not seeing it, then you need to make sure that you push it and make sure that they're all cut the same length. So at this point, the other thing that's important here to notice, and this is where we go back to that 1 inch at the beginning that we cut off, because this 1 inch allowed us to be able to still be able to cut off a little bit of the tip. And what we have here is that this sleeve is still going up to this point right here, and there's a notch right here in the connector, and that's a notch where the crimper is going to press down on the sleeve. So now we do take this that I was mentioning, and here is the RJ45, And we're going to take the RJ45 and insert this right there. And here we're going to press down on it and it's going to crimp it. So this is a good cable. We crimped the end. We've got the sleeve inserted so we don't have any of the individual cables exposed. But now this is where we're going to use the Klien tool. So the Klien tool essentially has two parts. So it has a remote and it has the main part. Right here, we're on a table. We're going to be able to do this test on a single cable, but sometimes you can have the remote in one room and then you can have the other end of the cable in another room. So what you do is that you insert one end of the cable in the remote and then you insert the other one in the RJ45 in the main tool. So at this point, you've got both of them connected. We're going to hit the test button. If when we hit the test button, we get a green, that means that the cable passed. If we get a fault, we might get one of three faults. We get one that is a miswire. The miswire means that you've got some of the internal wires messed up. So maybe you got something going in through one or two, but not all of them. Open means that nothing is there. It's not connected. The open is very good for whenever you're testing. You know, you've got multiple cables and you're not entirely sure if the one that you're connecting from one room to another is the same one. So this is where you use it. Short essentially means that you've got a short circuit, which means you've got some cables touching another cable internally. That can happen at any point of the cable if it's damaged, or it can also happen if the connector was not put in correctly. So here, with this one not connected, if we hit test, see, we get the fault because it's open. This means that this is not attached correctly. So we're going to go in and we're going to attach it. And here we go. This is, we're going to test if our cable is right. And there we go. We got a green light. So now we've got a cable that is perfectly well wired. And this is what the Klien tool does. This tool is only about 29, 30 bucks. It's really worth it. Trust me, it's going to save you a lot of headaches. This is it. This is the tutorial. So going back, you've got the Klien tool that you're going to need to be able to do this. You're going to have to use a multi-tool. And of course, you'll need the box of connectors and your wire. So I'm going to include the links for each one of these tools on the video. And see you next time.